when I see editorials, political commentators, pundits, leaders around the world say, both sides need to stop this violence. Both sides need to de-escalate. It's wrong. It's wrong. Hamas, terrorist organizations whose very purpose and raison d'etre and fundamental motivation is the destruction of the Jewish state of Israel. It has fired thousands of rockets, not at military installations, but at civilian populations. It started this conflict, and it is the one that has to stop it. There are absolutely no excuses for their reprehensible actions, and they must stop, period. When the new government of Egypt stepped in to try and stop the violence, I was absolutely stunned and pleased at how quickly the government of the state of Israel took up that offer to end the violence. For a brief moment, I was filled with optimism. I even asked my staff, I said, well, go ahead with this event on Wednesday night at the JCC. Well, we need to. Sadly, we're not here celebrating the end of the conflict, but we're looking at a terrible human price. Hamas, however, would have none of this ceasefire. What has Israel done? It is exercising its fundamental right to defend itself and its people. Do you know, I think liberal democratic states have one fundamental responsibility. It's not a right, it's a responsibility to protect their populations, keep their people safe and secure. I wholeheartedly agree with Mom. If this happened in Canada, Canadians would have one single goal, one simple demand from their government, and that would be to make the rain of rockets stop, and stop immediately. But far too long, far too long, the Jewish state, Israel, is judged so differently by friends and foes alike. Israel doesn't just have the right to defend itself, it has an obligation. Hamas, in conducting this war of terror, and I wish you could measure the terror that's being instilled on the Israeli people. Jewish, Arab, Palestinian, the culture of fear that's developed, but you can't. Hamas is using civilian populations as shields in an attempt to further their terrorist causes. Imagine if you were a Palestinian family living next door or across the street from a Hamas terrorist who's launching rockets from their rooftop. Imagine if you showed up with your children to school one day, only to discover there was an arms cache in the school. Or if you were a nurse, and you showed up, a Palestinian nurse, and you showed up to work to find out that Hamas was using the hospital as a staging ground or a launch pad.